Hey, Brian Mackinnon, Shirer, co-founder of HackingisNotaCrime. I'd like to introduce to you a gentleman that needs no introduction, a man that radiates positivity and energy, Charles Shirer, and he's going to be presenting today on web app hacking the next generation. Charles?
All right. Hello, everyone. And again, thank you, HackerCon, for having me. Again, today we're going to talk about like hacking. And the reason for this particular title, I was actually watching Star Trek: The Next Generation. I was like, there it is. That's the talk right there. It's just insane. But today, what we're going to talk about is just for folks that as of late, I've been getting a lot of questions, how to get started in web application security. How do I hack web apps? How do I get started? And a lot has changed since I began my journey on hacking web apps, right? So the basis of this talk today is just going to be more so an intro level, but just showing you, hey, how to actually get started and providing you with information and equipping you to get started and take your journey to the next level. So just a little bit about myself. I've been in IT for 18 years. Yeah, it's been that long. The last 7 actually in security. I started out as pretty much before I even was a PC tech. I actually just made cables for the network engineers and did network drops, right? And then I became a PC tech, and then from there I moved on to like sysadmin and system engineer. I've been a developer, and then within the last 7 years, I've moved into security as a penetration tester, beginning with wireless, actually, and some NetPen, and then moved into the web application security field, which I fell in love with. And I just, even if it's not part of my core job, I still will play around with web apps. Also, for those of you who don't know me, I am a retro gamer. I'm a huge fan of retro. I even asked our little friend here to join today from 1985. NES Rob. Say hello, Rob. Hi. And I love retro games. I love everything about them. It just takes me back to a fun time in life where things were just so simple and enjoyable, right? So then of course, just a couple of alphabets by my name. OSCP OSWP, and of course, I definitely have a passion for people, and I'm a huge keyboard lover. I love mechanical keyboards. I like the way they go click clack. So enough about moi. Let's get into the reason why we're here to talk about web apps and hacking them. So again, before we get into actually hacking the web applications themselves, I want to do this. Let's start with learning about the theory. And theory is good because a lot of times, and just to give you a backstory, when I first started out as a web hacker, there was just only one book in mind, and that was just the Web Application Hackers Handbook. Go read that book and go hack web apps. That was the advice. And not saying that it was bad advice, but that was the only advice I was receiving. So now, today, I'm just having the pleasure of actually giving that back and more. So when you want to hack web apps, let's learn the theory. So learn from these particular books. You can learn from the Web Application Hackers Handbook, of course, the Browser Hacker Handbook, and then you have the more modern one, which is the Web Application Security modern apps, and that's pretty good. I've halfway through the book though, but it's very helpful, and I think you would learn a lot from it. And not only that, as you're learning the theory, that's the thing too. You want to pretty much, and I say this to anyone that's actually like talking with me or asking me questions. Ask questions. Questions are important. I mean, you can't learn this stuff in a vacuum. And I think a lot of times we struggle with that. And this is just a model of mine. Every question that you have kills one day of imposter syndrome. Because a lot of us, we might suffer from imposter syndrome. We don't know what to ask, or we might be afraid to ask. But there are no stupid questions. That is so true. Ask the question until you understand it, because that's your goal anyway, is to, if you want to learn web app hacking, you're going to have to ask questions. Everything can't be learned in a vacuum. And here's just some of the sources that you can use now. Discord, for example. Use Discord as your oyster. I know a lot of times we get on Discord, we hang out with a lot of our friends. We want to hang out, cool out, and that's fun too. But if you actually want to learn something new and you're into like hacking web apps, get into the JavaScript Discord. Get into the OWASP. OWASP has a Discord channel. Get into anything related to web applications. Get into the Discord channel, start asking questions. Even the local hacker groups that you might be a part of, ask them questions. Then hop onto some of the mailing lists. If you're working on an application, if you're pen testing a web application or hacking an application, and say, for example, it's like WordPress or something, get on the WordPress mailing list. Ask the question there. You might not get your answers from Discord, but you might get it from mailing lists. And that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with asking questions. That doesn't make you any less of a person, aka hacker. It doesn't. It makes you actually better because you're actually getting the answer to your question and you're moving along in your journey. And even Twitter. And I know Twitter sometimes can be a scary place for folks. But again, ask the question. Eventually, somebody's going to answer the question, give you the answer that you're looking for. And also, too, I want to point out, if whatever area that you're in, look up OWASP groups in your area for web application hacking and anything related to web application security. Also, check out She Hacks Purple. Awesome person. Awesome. Tanya's just so awesome. She does a lot of good information. Check her out on YouTube. These are, and you can ask questions there as well too, and she can guide you into the right direction as well too. But definitely, I would recommend ask questions. That's the source of it, a lot of it. So moving on. So now that we've gotten the theory out of the way, we got the basics of the theories down. We're out here asking questions in Discord and Twitter and even on YouTube or whatnot, or even mailing lists. Now it's time to build a lab. Build a lab. Building a lab gives you not only that experience, but that satisfaction like, hey, I built this. You can build it, you can break it, you can tear it down, you can customize it, you can do anything you want because it's your lab. And as you can see here, even though it's cut off, I don't know why, but the OWASP vulnerable projects for web applications directory has a plenty of web apps. It has some that are offline, it has some that are online, and even ISOs as well too, as you can see in the tab there. You can get some VM ISOs as well too. And speaking of ISOs, definitely check out VulnHub, and then look up like the web application security. I think they have like a category that's just dedicated to like web and reverse engineering. In this case, we're focused on web. So look up anything web application related in VulnHub, and you can actually download that ISO and put it into your lab. And you can actually go through the different examples and actually learn about how this functions. And even if you're struggling, that's okay. There's nothing wrong. Struggle creates better progress. Again, struggle creates better progress. So if you're struggling, that's fine. And that's where we want to go back to asking more questions. Do a little bit, try a little bit, ask a little bit. Do a little bit, try a little bit, ask a little bit. Keep it repetitive, and you'd be surprised how much knowledge you gain at the end of it all. Well, it never really ends, as you know that. So once you got your lab built, and that's cool. You're doing some hacking, internally or whatnot. Get out there and do some challenges. Meet new people. And this is where Discord is a jewel. Actually, try Hack the Box. There's several others too. There's Try Hack Me. I believe Try Hack Me does have a Discord channel. I know Hack the Box does as well, but I think Try Hack Me does. I can't remember, but I think they do. But definitely get out there on Discord and try these challenges. Well, on Discord, ask the questions again. Questions. Without they're going to answer your question without giving too much away, because there's no fun in somebody just giving you the answer. They can point you in the right direction, but it's never good just to get the answer because you don't learn anything that way. But get out there, try challenges. Even if you don't want to go at it alone, you can join teams. You can join folks. Hey, a lot of folks are doing like Hack the Box challenges. Do you want to get involved with the CTF? And you can be on different teams. And not only are you learning and creating and doing different things and solving many challenges, you're actually making a new friend as well too. So it's a win-win. Knowledge and friends. All right. So now let's get into some of the meat and the potatoes of this all, right? So, and I call this the meat and the potatoes because now that you've built a lab, first of all, you understand the theory. You've built a lab. You're actually asking questions, as you should always. You're doing some challenges, and you're solving some of these challenges. And now you're going back into your lab a little bit, and you're like, okay, maybe I want to do something that's custom. Maybe you've solved all the challenges, and you're bored of like VulnHub, and your lab is just not exciting anymore, and you want to truly customize it and make your own custom applications. Writing code is the way to go. And these are just some of the languages I refer to when learning to write code and hacking web applications, specifically HTML. As you all know, that's the fundamental language of the internet, of the web. Of course, you have JavaScript. And again, some of the new, well, it's not so much a new language, but Python and Ruby. And I'm loving Golang these days. Definitely check out Golang. And of course, Java for legacy purposes and real world purposes. There's still a lot of Java out there as there is mainframe, right? That's just the way it is. I know some people might be like, Java, ill. But hey, it's still out there. This is something that you might have to run into. So it's best that you learn about it. And again, as you're writing code, as you're making like vulnerable apps, ask questions. Say, hey, I've made this app. I'm trying this out. See if you can hack into it. Give me some pointers back. How can I make this better? How can I make it more efficient? These are things that you should be doing all the time, right? And again, as you're asking questions, you're also learning. As you read a little code, you're writing some more code. Read a little code, write some more code. It's all repetitive. And ask questions. Again, question. So these are things that you want to look at when you're actually hacking web apps, okay? Now, this is the fun part. And I know we've done the lab, and I know that we've done the theory, we've done the challenges, we're creating our own custom labs, and things are awesome, right? But there's still more to go on this journey. You still have to break applications. Now, the reason I said break applications from a black box and a white box approach is because just what it is, right? So each approach will give you something different and add to your portfolio, right? So let's take the black box approach. The black box approach is more so related to like bug bounty programs, right? Such as HackerOne and BugCrowd, right? And I'm pretty sure there's some other ones out there. Those are the two main ones that a lot of folks actually use. So you want to do that because it gives you, like I said, the black box approach. It sees how well you can maybe look at code and maybe modify it to make it do things that it wasn't designed to do, to be able to get, like, say, a cross-site scripting injection or a NoSQL injection. I'm just naming some of these attacks here. But the black box approach gives you that truly, like, hey, you're an attacker from the outside, you're an adversary, and I'm coming for your application and see what bugs I can actually find without any help from the application owner, okay? Now, with the white box approach, which is more so like in the real world, especially when you're dealing with hacking web APIs, a lot of times you will get some documentation, which is always good. Being able to review the source code and look at it and say, maybe I can exploit something here. Hey, maybe I could do an injection here. Hey, maybe I can bypass the business logic of this application to gain access to maybe the database, or maybe enumerate users, or even just pretty much reverse engineer the application itself and make it do things that it was never designed to do. But these are approaches that provide like a healthy mix when you're learning to hack web applications in general. Now, and this just, again, as I mentioned before, we talked about cross-site scripting, right? Cross-site scripting, and I'm just naming just pretty much just one of the attacks. There's several different attacks out there, attack vectors. As you're going through the theory, you'll learn about them. You'll learn about NoSQL injection. You'll learn about HTTP smuggling and various other attacks that are actually out there to your pleasure. So with this in hand, like with cross-site scripting, I always like to say this, it's all about the characters, baby. So with cross-site scripting, everybody does like the traditional alert or whatnot, and that's fine. But then now, say an application owner, or if you're coding the application to make it tougher for others to get in, now you're encoding the output. As you can see here, this is all like encoded output on the output area, right? Now you want to say, hey, you know what? Maybe how can I bypass this? And this is where learning about different characters, where you're located. And this is why I say it's important to understand HTML and especially JavaScript, because there's different ways of doing cross-site scripting injection within those particular applications that are written in those languages. So for example, if you have a traditional web application that's written in traditional HTML, you're going to look at forms of HTML injection, which includes bracket, open bracket, close bracket, double quote. And you might use a single quote here and there. But the main things is open bracket, close bracket, double quote. Those are the characters you're going to need to be able to break out of that particular tag that you might be in order to inject your custom code, right? So JavaScript, not so much. You don't need any brackets. You need a semicolon. You need a single quote. You might need some open curly brace, close curly brace. So this is why I say it's good to understand, have a mix of the theory as well as understanding how attacks work. And this is where you get all this healthy mixing. And you learn about a lot of this stuff by doing black box approaches, white box approach, reading some code, writing some code, and as we all know, asking questions. Again, asking questions is the focal point because that gets you to the next step. Somebody's going to be able to point you to the right direction and help you along with your journey. Because again, all of this stuff can't be learned overnight. That's why we call it a journey and not a race. Now, we have our theory. We've built our labs. We've tried different challenges. We've even done bug bounty from the black box approach. We've done real world applications from the white box approach, being able to view source code. And through it all, we've been asking questions, right? So now, don't ever forget, remember, and especially in IT, tech in general, everything old is new again. So don't forget about the knowledge of hacking web applications that came before you. And this is why I say research the forgotten knowledge, because that forgotten knowledge, you can run into a legacy application where, like, say, for example, we're going to look at HTTP smuggling. You might run into an application where HTTP smuggling is allowed, and you've done the research, you know how this works. So now you're able to pretty much just have fun and do different attacks within that particular legacy application. Same thing with web cache poisoning and even DNS rebinding. These are attacks that, you might not see in the wild all the time, but it's always good to have that forgotten knowledge, in your repertoire. And I also provided a link there and this is the link that I actually use, Reddit, the web research Reddit subreddit. A lot of information in there. I mean, just tons of information. I'd recommend just going through all of that because you're going to get a ton of great information and a lot of fun stuff is going to come out of that. So now I wanted to in here, and because I want to leave room for questions. If anybody has questions in the audience, I can't see the questions. So somebody's going to have to, if you have any questions, please ask me. I'm here to answer any questions that you want. I'm located on Twitter as BSD Bandit. I'm also on Discord as BSD Bandit. And of course, that's my email address. My DMs are always open. Ask me any questions. I will never turn you away. I will always answer your questions, or I can point, if I don't know the answer, I will point you in the right direction to someone who does have the answer.
Awesome. And thank you, Charles. I think that everybody is going to be interacting and asking questions after the presentation in Discord.
Okay.
So if you just join us, of course, the Discord server information is in the bottom of the screen, and of course, you have now Charles' information in the screen as well. So with that said, thank you so much, Charles, for your time and for your collaboration here. I really appreciate you supporting the effort, both the Hacking is Not a Crime and the Red Team Village. So
thank you so much for having me. I love y'all all. Ow! Yep, yep.
Awesome. Thank you. And we're going to go in the quick break, and we're going to be back in the next 3 minutes or so.